We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based the debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal to the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket, put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we broadcasting all over the world. And Jimmy, I got 3 words. Wow, wow, wow. What a weekend. What a big weekend for everybody except those guys up on 45 North. Jimmy, my Tigers, Memphis Tigers are in the top 10 to 9. They're ranked 9th by AP. I'm just, Jimmy, you know what I learned over the weekend? And I want everybody to understand this. To all my kids, I know kids out of school today, Jimmy, right? Mamas and daddies and kids. I want you to tell your kids this. You probably already do. But Jimmy, what I found out, I know it's the gift giving time. I know that it's Christmas time, it's the holiday time. But guess what, Jimmy? I want to let everybody know. Education is a gift that nobody can take away from you. Don't ever, ever forget that. Education is the gift. While we giving gifts, let's try to give some educational gifts out here, because that's the gift that nobody can never take from you, Jimmy. And that's what I want people to know today in this festive season. But Jimmy, I know we got a lot of stuff, man. Like I said, wow, wow, wow. What you got going on? What up, everybody out there in Facebook land? What you got? We got a special guest coming on today, toward the end of the middle of the show. So, Jimmy, I'll let you do all that. What you got?
Oh man, absolutely. I mean, high school football, the state championships took place this past weekend.
Wow.
We definitely going to get right into that shortly. We're going to talk some NFL talk. What the hell went wrong with the Cowboys? And I have a very good question, a very valid question to present and ask to the Cowboy fans. And that's coming up shortly. Also, we're going to talk some NBA talk.
Yes.
The topic of load management is back in effect again. And it seems like, remember the old cartoon, Yosemite Sam would point the pistol and all of a sudden it would be turned back at him because LeBron James comes under the microscope of a load management. People are questioning whether he's injured or not. Talk about that. On the back nine, we have the MVP of the one of the state champions from the high school football this past week will be joining us on the Chop Shop for a conversation. And we want you guys to make sure you share the show to your friends and timelines because we want to shower this young man with a bunch of praise and a bunch of appreciation for accomplishing what very few will do throughout their high school careers. And we're talking about football in the state of Texas, which is king. And a lot of people hear about it from afar, but until they actually moved into the state of Texas and look around and see what happens on Friday nights, we're not talking about just big cities and metropolitan areas such as Houston or DFW, but we're talking about in the rural areas. And there are towns where basically they essentially shut down at 7 p.m. on a Friday evening. And it's because everybody has a relative that's playing on the football field. It's just that big in the state of Texas.
And Jimmy, I'm glad you said that. You just bringing me back when I first stepped foot on this Houston soil. My brother, whose house I came over to stay with, he lived in the Alief area. Okay, Jimmy, and he drove me by. Went down there. I think that's Harwin. And Jimmy, I saw that Alief Stadium. Jimmy, we don't have nothing in Memphis that remotely resemble a high school stadium that looked like that at all in all my years in Memphis. And I said to myself, that's the high school football arena. Unbelievable. I'll never forget it. So you're right. Friday Night Lights is live and well in Texas. So it's unbelievable.
And first and foremost, get right into it. The game, the highly anticipated one was, I guess, was clouded with the news that we're talking about North Shore versus Duncanville. North Shore versus Duncanville. Moments before the kickoff, well, I'm saying moments, the night before.
Yeah.
I guess drama transpired and reared its ugly head when star running back Zach Evans, who was ranked #1 in the country according to ESPN at the beginning of the football season, #1 in the country. There was a dispute between one of the assistant coaches and this young man over his reluctance to abide by the team rules surrounding the cell phones. Next thing you know, this young man was sent home from the state championship in Dallas, was sent back to Houston, whether it be voluntarily or involuntarily, he was gone. So by the time everybody woke up, you gotta realize this news had saturated the entire football community in the state because once again, he was #1 in the country, according to ESPN, a 5-star running back who, remember, this is not his first time or was not his first time getting suspended shortly after their first game of the season, which was a loss to Katy. We attended that game and he was upset about the attempts, lack of attempts he was given in that game. And afterwards, some words resulted in him being suspended for a few games. And even in that game against Katy, we were saying, man, he wasn't looking the part, but at the same time, he had received, I don't remember how many carries, but it was minimal. So now here's what happens when it goes there. And we've reached out to Zach Evans and his family to try to get them to provide their side of the story, because nobody else is going to give them this much airtime. And guess what? So we're waiting. Maybe tomorrow they may come on and have get it together, because the world isn't against you. What it is a wake-up call. It's not the end of the world. You didn't violate a law. You didn't go to jail. There have been people that have been to state championships and been in situations like it that got arrested. So if this doesn't wake Zach Evans up this moment to let you know, because the worst thing could have happened, well, the best thing could have happened for us, a teachable moment for this young man is for North Shore to have won the game, which they did 31-17 over Duncanville.
And Jimmy, Jimmy, we got to point out that the Duncanville, they was without one of their star players, but he was injured. He didn't have disciplinary reason. Their star quarterback, I think he was out also, right?
Yeah, the starting quarterback for Duncanville,
yes.
Jaquindon Jackson.
Yes.
That's his young man's name.
Okay.
He's a 4-star quarterback that's committed to University of Texas, and he got injured, ACL injury last week in the semifinal. And as you just mentioned, North Shore was without Shadrach Banks, the star wide receiver.
Oh, Shadrach didn't play either?
Shadrach did not play coming in this. That's one of the things I mentioned last week. People were saying, okay, well, I understand, not comparing the valuability of the wide receiver to the quarterback, but however, when you factor in, coming into this game, if North Shore had to lose, remember, North Shore was without their star running back, their star wide receiver, right? And you're playing a Dallas area team in Dallas, minus their quarterback. Hey, favor was Duncanville to me, because Duncanville had built-in motivation and incentive to get revenge.
Yeah, but we had our quarterback. Jimmy, it ain't nothing like losing that quarterback, man.
But understand this. Once again, I didn't say it was greater than.
Yeah, but I'm
saying based on, listen here, the productivity factor, your star wide receiver and your star running back. Your star running back, he was a part of your game plan. No, the Duncanville star quarterback wasn't this week. They knew they lost him last week. So they went on and you got to suck it up, freshman, and they brought the young fella in, Chris Parsons. He did well, actually above average for a quarterback of the 9th grade stature to be thrust into these type of light.
Oh, so it's a 9th grader played?
Yeah, it's a 9th grader. It's a 9th grader. Now remember that he played last week, got his feet wet. You know, in the after the starting quarterback after Jackson went down. So once again, North Shore prepared with Zach Evans all week. Zach Evans goes and get in trouble, quit the team, kicked off the team, whatever you want to call it. He went home. And as I'm saying about this young man, first of all, this North Shore team, when stuff like this happen, and I've talked to coaches all last night, all over the weekend. I've talked to coaches that know the young man. He's come from within a neighboring school district.
Okay.
That's next to North Shore High School. That's North Shore High School. Right down the road, about 3 miles away, is C.E. King High School. Well, this young man went to Knoll Middle School, which feeds one of only 2 middle schools in the C.E. King School District that feeds in the C.E. King High School, right next door. That's not uncommon for C.E. King zone kids to go and mysteriously come up with a different address and go to North Shore. That is a straight.
Hey, man, like quit telling all them folk business on the air, man.
Well, everybody knows. Well, it's done now. Think about it. It's done now.
The kid's still in school. Oh, you're a senior?
But the senior, yeah, he's a senior.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Remember now. Remember, so I've heard stories in regard to talking to people last week. Hannah, did you realize that University of Georgia, that's where he was rumored to be signing with? Georgia went, and this kid was lagging around, and Georgia went and signed another running back. Alabama was a school that he was leaning toward and waiting on. Nick Saban, according to my intel, Nick Saban basically told the kid he have to improve his
attitude.
He needs some attitude adjustment. Yeah. This was before this stuff happened this weekend.
I got a question, Jim, and maybe y'all can help me out. All of us drive, let's say all of us family, the Boom Boom Room, all of us family. we going up there to see our kids play football, right, for the championship. And we have a mishap like this. Evans. And he had to go back home. Who takes him back home? I mean, because we came to watch the game, which one of the family members got to go all the way back to Houston? That's just me. I'm just trying to be practical here, using a little pragmatism here. Which one of us decide, well, I take his behind home? Jimmy, you understand what I'm saying? Because he's a young man. He probably can't drive back home by himself. He came up on the school bus, on the school transportation. Who takes him back home? People say, well, we're going to forget the game. They leave him in a hotel room and they go to the game. What do you do, Boom Boom Room? I'm just asking. What do you do, Jimmy? What do you do, Jimmy? If that was if little Shadrack was your son.
It depends on how I understand. From what I understand about the situation, like I say, it's very unfortunate that because this was, remember now, my old cliche totally applies right now. Remember, I've been saying this stuff at least once every week. You hear it from me, and I say it to you again at the top of this week. When the talent is greater than the problem, you will be tolerated. But when the problem becomes greater than the talent, you are expendable. In this situation, from what I understand, you got to realize that's why I so would love to talk with somebody from Zach Evans or one of his parents. I would love, because of the fact that I know it's unfair, but at this point in time, everybody that's dealing with the North Shore side of the fence is going to justify their side. They're going to put out and then everybody seeps out a little bit more intel about something else that the kid may have done. Well, because I've heard it was some turbulence, and it was a very turbulent week for this young man as far as respect factor and disrespecting the assistant coaches. And that's another whole topic I'm going to get into in a second. But I already had an issue with a young lady, one of his female friends. Whether it be a girlfriend, a female friend, a dispute or an altercation, this is allegedly, this type of stuff is out. And they tried to keep everything they could under the wraps for this young fella.
Well, that's the reason he want to keep the phone. I want to keep my phone if I'm having problems with my boo.
Well, what if it got physical early in the week? See, here's the thing. Uh-huh. A lot of the coaches, the assistant coaches, see, this is where respects come in. North Shore, if you guys don't understand, if you haven't paid attention, the North Shore is the largest school in Greater Houston. Over 4,500 students attends North Shore High School. It's humongous in regard to the population. 9th graders have their own campus. 10th graders have their own campus. 11th and 12th graders are at the main campus. That's how big it is at North Shore High School. And understand one thing. Everybody knows everybody if you play ball. Everybody knows everybody. This young man has celebrity status. And obviously celebrity status that he could not handle. Everybody can't handle being number one. It affects people differently. Some people thrive the best when they feel like they're hunting, when they know that they're after something, when they're chasing the rabbit or the carrot around the track, they can perform at the highest level. But the minute you make them the champ and put that belt around their waist and throw their hand in the air, it's just it's like, this is all they wanted. They didn't want to thrive. This wasn't part of the dream, was to keep pushing through after you've been named the champ. You just wanted to be number one. That's why a lot of times in rankings, I know just how to test the mettle of a lot of kids.
Come on now, Jimmy.
I've been doing it for years.
I know you've been doing it.
I put their butt up and rank them high, and parents, y'all don't even have no idea what I'm doing. Some people from the side, why you got this kid ranked up this high? Trust me, just hold tight. I promise you, it will sort itself out. It's just to hush his handler up. to hush his summer coach, to hush his mammy or pappy up. I'm gonna rank his ass up really high because I know what's going to happen. Sure enough, it sure is it stank. And you can put the SH on front of it if you want to. He's gonna drop like a rock. Because certain kids you can see, if they don't have it in them, it's gonna come out. You can't put that much makeup on a pig. You can't. And this young man, they knew what they were dealing with. Now, albeit I understand the coaches may have tried and tried, but sometimes the best way they suspended him. So they suspended him early.
Jimmy, your wife just said something real key. Sandra just said, shout out to the teachers who had to endure his behavior all year. I'm sure they didn't have the luxury. Jimmy, thank you, Sandra. I didn't even think about that. But that's a great, great point. If he was like that, Jimmy, on the football field, and Jimmy, you remember, I went over there and saw him on the bench, and I was telling you, Jimmy, what's wrong with this? You remember when we were on the sidelines, and the guys was just telling me that's just the way he is. So imagine what was going on with his teachers. I mean, I bless their little hearts. You know, somebody need to have a special Christmas present in there for them teachers. But
I mean, that's definitely a good comment. And
great comment.
Do you guys really believe that if his attitude was this on the football field, that he's just a calm, a straight A in conduct student in the classroom?
Great call, Sam.
People, and this, here's the thing. So many people are going to pile on this young man over the next couple of months that it can be, let me tell you what this can lead to. A depression, an increased usage in drugs. It can lead to this kid just spiraling out of control. This could, like I'm saying, I'm hoping that this can be the teaching moment of his life. And what I mean by 10 years from now, he can come back to the school, he'll have his college degree, and he'll walk up to the school with his wife and the kids if possible, and have a testimony for the North Shore High School football program that's in the year maybe 2029 or 2030 or so.
And Jimmy, and that's the old adage. I hear this thing sometimes saying uncoachable kids wind up being unemployable adults. And and we talk, you know, over the last month we've been talking about the misfortunes of some of the NFL and NBA players, and especially NFL players, the Antonio Browns of the world, and the stuff and the stuff that they're doing. But Jimmy, it starts there. You follow me? It starts right there. How could you play? How could you have? I'm just thinking, and I'm not trying to pile on the kid because I want to get him help if possible. But I'm trying to say, I remember when I went to school, if my coach said it, Jimmy, it was so. Ain't no way in the world. My coach said, give me this phone, because my mama would have beat the black off of me. Jimmy, she would have came to school and whooped my butt right in front of everybody up there if I had told the coach, no, you ain't getting my phone. So I just don't, these kids just don't have the reverence and fear for their elders. That's what I see, Jimmy. Because somebody on that staff, the guy got to respect. Evidently, he don't respect nobody on that staff. And you know, I don't know the kid, but I'm just looking at the. You've talked to coaches and all of that, Jimmy. I'm just looking at the results. If it was one person he respect, somebody could have got that. Hey man, give me this phone, man. Do you know how important this is?
Well, that's the thing, Adam. Mm-hmm. If you look at it and peel the layers back, the phone wasn't primary.
Okay.
The phone was a last straw.
Okay.
You can just upon hearing a lot of the stuff, and I mean, the phone wasn't it.
Okay, I got you.
You see,
like I said, you know more than I know. Okay.
You know, the phone wasn't the logs. The phone may have been the match. You know.
Okay.
I mean, it's, but you use that because that's on paper, that's documented what's happened. They have to do paperwork, because if a young man goes on a goes on a bus trip with the school, he's property of the school, for that kid to go back home and not on that bus, somebody have to sign or verbal approve that a parent or guardian, that he's in their custody to go home. They're releasing him. And you guys know, you guys are parents out there that have kids that go on field trips, and you go with them to ball games. That's why so many parents sometimes, you know, they might lax it, but they're gonna look the parent in the eye and, hey, oh, you got him, I got him. We're not going straight home. We need to go to a party. And the kid, they'll release the kid but otherwise, them kids gotta get on that bus and ride back to the school.
Jimmy.
This situation, guys, yes, reading. We got to go to the boom boom room.
Oh, they
and let's address some of these comments, because this is some good comments. Because I mean, we could teach each other. And Odyssey says Joe Stevens is going to speak with him and his family and more North Shore alums and get him together. You know, of course, Joe Stevens, he's the judge. Joe Stevens now. He's the former high school basketball star who briefly played with the Houston Rockets back in the early 90s. Went to Nebraska. Joe Stevens he's a great in the North Shore community. Everybody loves him out there.
Yes.
All right. So now, you need a middle person.
Oh, of course.
This young man right now, yes, he's still going to play ball. However, did you realize last week in the state semis, he missed a great portion of the game because he was taking the ACT test. He's a non-qualifier right now.
Okay.
Know what that means now?
Might have to go to junior college.
69 in the class. All bets are off on the academic side in North Shore High School.
Yeah.
Them just ain't gonna give him 1 point.
Right.
Because now they know the protection is off because he's not on the team. He was protected. So when you guys understand, this stuff is big. Once again, if he has a 69, his ass gonna get a 69. So he had to really be careful. And somebody explain to him that these grown folk and some of these teachers and everybody that's a star athlete, you guys know, if you ever played ball in high school, it's always that one teacher. For me, it was the homemaking teacher. I got mad we burnt some biscuits. We didn't care about no biscuits. We didn't know how to cook back then.
Jimmy, y'all did something. I'm going to get like you. It must have been something else that led up to that, because it couldn't have been about the biscuits. It couldn't have been about the biscuits, because old Jimmy done did something to that teacher. I can rest assured you it wasn't about the biscuits.
It probably was a lot more. We gave that woman clean hell. That's what it was.
But Jimmy, I got something for you. I just thought about something. And it crossed my mind. Do we have a basketball player in our community that acts this way?
We've had some.
I'm talking about right now. Would you bet your right pocket that we have a basketball player among our midst that got this type of attitude? We got some educators out there. We got some teachers. We got some AAU coaches out there. We got some summer people out there. Yeah, they talking about Jimmy and the biscuit. Do we have a basketball player that act that way? I'm just asking, because what's good for the goose, good for the gander. And Angie Stewart emphatically in capitals said yes.
Wow.
See that? See, hey, Jimmy, that's why I'm sitting here thinking about this. I'm thinking about Zach Evans is a man. Jimmy, we got to do something about. I know it's gonna be hard, y'all, and I know it's not easy. But we got to do a better job. Jimmy, I got a video, Jimmy, a couple of videos I got to play, y'all. Antonio Brown is doing music, just doing music videos now of himself playing guitars and up on the stage. Have you seen him, Jimmy? You ain't seen Jim. You know I put him. See, the reason I said is how we got to reach out to these kids, man.
And I get stressed. And I get stressed.
things, Jim
Well,
Hicks.
well, just give him a matter of time. It's coming. It's coming.
But I'm just saying, that's why I'm a big proponent of getting to our athletes. Y'all mamas and daddies, I know they might be big. I know they might be, you might think they're your meal ticket. But we if he's good enough to make it there, all that money gonna do is magnify whatever demon he has now. It's gonna be 20 times that demon when he's able to buy a Rolls Royce or when he's able to buy a Ferrari. I'm just telling you, I've been around this stuff since 1993, and I've seen a lot of this stuff, and I've seen ways to prevent this stuff. But you have to. High school is important. High school, Coach Jimmy, the guys that were disrespectful in high school, they were disrespectful in college, and they were disrespectful when they became a pro. So, I mean, it just magnifies the demons that they already have. I just wanted to share that with you.
Well, I mean, and taking that, and Lubeck, it's something I want to reiterate. And this is very important about the depression part. The young man, Zach Evans, thought he had total control over his recruitment. He thought he was going to either Georgia, Alabama. Alabama head coach reportedly told him that you need to get your attitude straight before we even mess with you, before we offer you. Georgia went and signed another kid. So now the word is circulating rapidly around the country. He has a disclaimer that comes with him now. This is the young man who think about it, who does that? Think about this. You were number one in the country and got suspended the night before the championship game on the road. I mean, you wasn't at home. You wasn't riding around with your boys in the car. Think about it. You didn't think about it. You got suspended and did not break a law. Do you understand how bad it has to be? An abundance of preponderance of evidence that have to be against you of things that accumulated over a period of time.
Jim.
And Cecil mentioned earlier that everything reflects back to home training. The coaches were wrong for allowing this to happen and for not nipping it in the bud from day one. Let me remind you, first game of the season, they suspended this young man for about 4 games. They suspended him. So
Jimmy, the first game we went to, Jimmy, he had a problem.
I'm saying so that was an attempt for them to nip it right then. You don't know if you've nipped it in the bud until the problem reoccurs or it gets an opportunity to reoccur. Yeah. You really don't know. They thought they had nipped it in the bud. So this young man, think about it. Come on, man. We've all had that one teacher or one assistant coach. Think about it like this. We just say one teacher. Everybody didn't play ball. You was 12th grade. Mm-hmm. You getting ready. The last day of school is nearing. Isn't it that one teacher you wanted to go by and do that too?
Never.
All you play verbal. You got
never, Jimmy.
Not you. There's some teacher out there. Okay. You can't wait till the last day of school so you tell them to kiss your ass.
I got to come back to the same school the next year, Jimmy.
No, you're a senior. You are a senior. As a senior.
Okay.
Zach Evans is a senior.
Okay.
I'm planting a seed for you guys.
No, hey, Jimmy, that's not a good seed to plant.
No, there's no more practices after the day. Think about it. There's no more practice.
Jim.
You don't have to deal with that assistant coach no more. That one assistant coach come to do the bed check or do the cell phone pickup, and you say, man, I ain't messing with you. Man, leave me the hell alone. Or whatever you say. You going to unload, and guess what? Maybe that assistant coach is feeling the same way. He been tolerating and taking your smack all year. And that's one of my things I want to explain. That's why this is a teachable moment for both sides. This is why we sit and watch these grown folk try to play buddy with these kids. And when a time of seriousness come, then the kid he's confused. I'm not defending the young fella at all. But I'm telling you how situations where kids, guys, I see them all the time. They go with the kids and they dap them up. What's up, homie? What's up, little homie? What's up, buddy? What's up?
No. What's up, player?
Player. Then when it's time to get serious and that kid walk by you in the hallway and you're standing next to the principal, or let's say even the superintendent is right there, what think that kid is going to call you when he speak to you? You gonna say, what's up? You gonna wave your hand, he gonna say, what's up, player? So now you in an uneasy situation. Because if you let it go by, your boss is looking at you, you'll never get a promotion. You can't, this is how they talk. These kids, and there's some kids out there, don't get it twisted. I learned watching this weekend at the Christmas Carnival. Some kids, it was a coach, that's the only language that they can understand. Is if a coach cussing their ass out. They can't understand no other language.
No, I don't know about that, Jimmy. I don't know about that. Maybe that's the only language that coach knows.
No. I say some kids. I didn't say all kids or everybody. Some kids, it seemed like they don't understand. Say, get in this dough. Y'all go sit down right now. Or y'all get back and hustle back on defense. Or get up and give me some effort. That don't get it up out of them. Now that coach say, get your ass so down there and get up. Now all of a sudden the kid moving. Some are just like that. But man, I hope like hell that the community can get behind this young man. Do not put him out for heavy trash. He has an opportunity to go and he will play college football somewhere. Even if he don't qualify. Blinn Junior College, guess what? Guess who went there?
Cam Newton.
And it worked out just fine for Cam Newton. Blinn Junior College is right down the road. That's the worst case scenario as long as he don't get in handcuffs. Even if he does get in handcuffs, he can still go to Blinn Junior College or another junior college that has a football program of great stature. He's investable for somebody. Now, and that's enough on the North Shore thing. So, and don't forget, guys, at the top of the hour, in about 30 minutes, we're expected to be joined by the MVP of the state champion Shadow Creek Sharks, who took care of business in their high school state football game. Kyron Drones.
Yes, sir.
And Kyron Drones is the quarterback. He's an 11th grader, just as the North Shore quarterback, Demetrius Davis. He's an 11th grader. He's back next year. Shadow Creek's quarterback is back next year. And he's going to join us. We're expecting a great conversation. And you guys, once again, want you guys to share the show so that some of the relatives and other kids or whatnot can see and just show a little love to this young man.
Especially the Creek boys. All the Creek boys need to be. All the Creek, but you know, we got a lot of Shadow Creek. I said Summer Creek. I'm sorry, y'all. Shadow Creek people on the Facebook. So all of the Creek boys will be on here very shortly.
Oh, that's what they call themselves, the Creek boys.
The Creek boys, yes.
Okay. And the Creek boys, and guess what? This is their last year in 5A. How do they move up to 6A next year?
That's all right. It's all right.
And which means new rivalries will come in, because that you can expect them to now be placed in a district with their district foes or brothers, Pearland Dawson. I'm sorry, Alvin High School, possibly their neighboring. That's not the same district, but Pearland and Dawson and those guys. That'll be one of the top football districts in the area easily, because Pearland. Remember when they built Shadow Creek, it kind of cut into their attendance zone. But anyway, we're going to talk more about Shadow Creek shortly. A team that came short this past weekend was Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall, the Buffs, went to state and fell to Aledo 45-42. That game that was running neither team could stop each other. Just that came down to the end that Aledo pulled out and Marshall cut it close toward the end, but just fell short, 45-42. Not to discount the fact that back-to-back state championship appearances for Thurgood Marshall. How about this? Out of the top 4 classifications of the classified games, there are 2 football games in the Class 6A, and there were 2 in 5A. DFW, Aledo is the only team from DFW to capture a championship this year, right? Austin Westlake won the other championship in 6A Division Two, and of course North Shore won the 6A Division One, and Shadow Creek won 5A Division One. So H-Town, Greater Houston, stand up. This year, you won more of the top 5A and 6A, or what we're talking about. They won the top two. And so this was a year that's supposed to have been dominated by the DFW area.
Okay.
Well, the majority supposed to have been.
Okay.
And this goes to show now
like they did in basketball.
Like it did in
last year.
In basketball they did.
They dominated.
But as again we go and it shows it's peaks and valleys.
Oh yeah.
It's peaks and valleys.
Okay.
You let them go and you let everybody just go and let the numbers speak for themselves. Now we'll get joined by the young man from Shadow Creek. Want to remind you guys, we'll throw a little other football in there real quick. The Houston Texans clinched the division with their win on Saturday.
Yes.
The Texans are in. And that's combined with the fact that the Texans beat Tampa Bay. King Crableg did it again, guys. I'm really worried about him next year.
I'm not worried about him, Jimmy, because he might throw an interception, but he's going to come back and throw a touchdown. I would live with that quarterback.
Really?
I would live. Brett, it happened for Brett Favre, but now, he don't have the complexion for protection, though. But I live with it, Jimmy. A gunslinger. Yeah,
but this is year 3, right?
Yeah.
For Crableg, James Winston, and this is they're sub 500 team, and that's the thing. Now, if you're winning, you're above 500, you're a playoff contender. Yes, people. Once again, that means the talent is greater than the problem. At this point, the problem appears to be greater than the talent for James Winston. He's got more than enough rope. You got to win, and that he's not got to win consistently in games that you need to win. And that was one. Didn't do it. Of course, 23-24. The result: the Texans over the Bucks in a game that
I thought it was 20. I thought it was 24-21.
Huh?
Oh, you might be right.
23-20.
Okay,
and,
I got you.
Texas won by a field goal.
Okay.
And in the same breath, how about this? How about the Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Jets?
That hurt, man.
The Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Jets.
And I had him for one of my coach of the year candidates because of what he did with so less. He was down to his 3rd, 4th string quarterback, Jimmy. You remember I talked with the boy named Devlin, and I told somebody he had a funny name. Yes, his nickname is Duck. Duck is a funny name to me. Duck Devlin. He got pulled, and they put your other guy back in who had the concussion. I forgot his name. You know, who had the problem with Myles Garrett, the fiasco with Myles Garrett, that quarterback. So I mean, but guess what? Pittsburgh is still mathematical, possible to get in the playoffs, Jim. They still got a chance.
They need Tennessee to lose at Houston.
Yes.
And they need to beat. They need either Tennessee to lose at Houston, right? Mm-hmm. Or they need to beat. You know, Pittsburgh plays next week. They play Baltimore.
Your boy ain't playing next week. Quarterback ain't playing. RG3 playing next week.
They already announced it?
Oh, it ain't. I'm telling you. Remember, I told you this. Load management. It's load. He gonna load management next week. Jimmy,
you think so?
You don't play your starting quarterback, Jimmy. If you clinch, you don't play your starting quarterback that game.
Well, you know what? I think they did. They did clinch. They beat the ball.
They clinched. Yeah.
That reason you take the week off.
Yeah.
You take the week.
Yes, sir.
No, guess who else I wouldn't play? I wouldn't play the running back.
He hurt anyway. He's not gonna play anyway.
I wouldn't play him.
He tweeted his
take the week.
Mark Ingram. He tweeted his hamstring.
And I'm looking at some of the
Jimmy. We talking about football, Jimmy. I'm thinking about, we was talking last week about the jersey swaps. You know, everybody out there swapping them jerseys. Jimmy, them jersey swaps are costly. Think about this. You know how much the players are charged every time they swap them jerseys?
How much?
$500 every time they give the opponent their game-worn jersey. That price adds up another layer to respect of the exchange. So it is something. It's not, they just can't just give that jersey away. They get charged for that jersey, Jimmy, that jersey swap. Yeah, I just found that out this weekend. I said, wow.
Yeah, but for some of them, it's worth it. It's way more than 500.
But some of them guys' game-worn jerseys ain't worth it. Some of them guys be swapping, Jimmy. You wouldn't even take their at your house. But Jimmy, them Cowboys, man. You know, I found out something about them. You know.
Oh, Cowboys.
No, you know what? I got a did you know? Did you know this the first time this season that the Cowboys do not own at least a share of the lead of the NFC East, I'm sorry. Then I got a bonus, did you know? If the Eagles beat the Giants next week, in week 17, it would be the 15th straight year they will have a different and a new division champ, that particular division. It's just 15th straight year somebody else would get it the next year. It's a crazy division. Hey, it's not like that New England division. You already know. You just pencil New England in. You know, at the beginning of the season when you say who's going to win this division, you just put Tom Brady and them in. But I thought that was kind of something I wanted to add to it. You got anything else?
Well, now it's time for the accountability phase. This is when you guys will be accountable. And first, I want to look at Ezekiel Elliott. If you were a proponent of Ezekiel Elliott and saying that, think about it now. Cowboys wasn't stinking without. They won the first 2 or 3 games. They were right first 3 of the season. They wasn't stinking without Zeke. And for all you people sit there and think about this, you go and you say, man, they need Zeke. Well, you had Zeke. Zeke had 47 yards rushing yesterday. 47 yards rushing.
But he's been rushing but 13 times, Jim.
But okay, so if you rush 13 times, that means you should have at least what, 52 yards. Remember, at 4 yards a carry. That's the benchmark for a running back.
Well, he's a
running back benchmark is 4 yards a carry. So that means you were below based on the touch that you got on first downs. I think on the first 4 possessions of the game, he probably had a negative. I said it again, probably had a negative on the first downs of the first 4 possessions when they gave the ball to Zeke, like 1 yard, -5, and then like 2. So that's a -1. So, Cowboys, here's the question that I have for you, and this is a real question. What did the Cowboys do to make you fall in love with them?
Oh, that's a question.
I'm just curious. And this is not an attack on you guys. I'm just really curious because it's like a relationship that you just can't get out of and you don't want out of. This every year. I'm not here once again. I just want to know simple. And I look at some of the comments. What did the Dallas Cowboys do
to make
you fall in love with them? Because they hadn't won a Super Bowl in how many years? So it couldn't have been that. Is it the uniforms? Is it the color? Is it the DFW? Did you have a good experience? Did you win a bag of money? You bet on them the first time? What did they do to make you fall in love with them to this magnitude? Because I can understand how you can fall deeper in love because like a relationship, as I say, parents tell you that the mate is no good for you. Parents tell you that he's sorry or she's sorry. She ain't working. She ain't done nothing for you. She don't bring nothing to the table. But in your mind, you can't just go and tell your parents that the mate has some good nookie. So does the Cowboys have some good nookie? Or in the man,
you're a dirty old man, man.
Some good cookies. So I'm just curious, what did the Cowboys do to make you fall in love with them? I mean, seriously, at this point, it's really a good question. And it's a fair question
Yeah, it's
right
a
now.
fair question. And I want to hear from you, Dallas Cowboy people.
I mean, and they don't want to talk because they thinking you want to pile in. Right now, I'm thinking psychologically, I mean, what is it? They built a new stadium. It ain't yours. You have to pay every time you go in. So what did they do? Do they give back and build new homes in the urban community? Did Dallas? I mean, I don't know. Did Jerry Jones go and help and donate money to elementaries and the Dallas Kimball students, or the students that feed from that community, or Dallas Carter, or Oak Cliff, or I mean, what did they do?
I know you looking at the screen, Jerry.
That's Chris.
Hey,
Chris
man.
Walker, wherever you at.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, Jimmy, I told you, a friend of mine, he live in Baltimore. He grew up in Baltimore. He lives in Baltimore. And he told me something that changed my life forever. I said, man, you really like them Cowboys. He said, Robert, I don't like them. I love them. Jimmy was serious. He brought his whole family from Baltimore just to take a tour of Texas Stadium. I mean, it's unbelievable. The fandom. You got to remember, Jim, that's why Stephen A. Has his disdain. He said he loves Jerry Jones. He just don't like them fans. I mean, I can call my sister right now, and I bet you she gonna say, well, that's all right. We'll wait till next year. She said, we'll get him next year. I mean, I don't understand. So, Jim, I see you shaking your head over there. But, Jimmy, nobody is coming to their own defense. Nobody. Madonna said we wrong. Madonna, why are we wrong? Jimmy just asked a great question. What is y'all's, or whoever it is, what is your affinity for the Dallas Cowboys that makes you just love them so much? What, they don't win. Is it the uniform? What else, Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy, is it the Dallas Cowgirls? I mean,
that's what it could have been.
It's something. Well, David Dennis said, I'm not even a Cowboy fan, but they don't use him correctly. Oh, okay, I got you. They don't use Zeke correctly. Because I would have those. Yeah.
Oh, so they don't use Zeke
correctly. That's what David Dennis said.
Okay, that's not the question I'm asking. What did the Dallas Cowboys do to make you fall in love with them?
I just want to know. Madonna, Chris Felix, Melvin Dews, whoever liked the Dallas Cowboys, I just want to know why you like them. How people feel about the Cowboys is how, and Christopher Calvin said, how people feel about the Cowboys, that's how I feel about Yates High School. But at least you probably attended Yates High School. You ain't attended Dallas Cowboy High School. I don't understand that one.
And I'm reading the comments. I'm reading some of the comments. I mean, and I'm.
Oh! You see Kenny Gamble? You see Kenny Gamble? Jimmy, you remember when I was a little boy? What'd I tell you? I'm from Memphis. We didn't have a team, right? Guess who my room was decorated in? All Dallas Cowboy stuff. Because I didn't know no better. But when I became a man, I put away those childish things, Jimmy. I don't cheer for no. I like the Texans. And let me tell you something. I found myself rooting for the Dallas Cowboys yesterday on the inside. Because my daughter love them. My sister love them. And Jackie Scott love them. I got some people that loves them people, that love the Dallas. But Jimmy, over Christmas dinner this year, I'm going to ask my Dallas Cowboy friends, what it is, and I have you some answers on Monday.
But I mean, well, guess what? And I think that we really we got about 3 sincere answers.
Okay.
One Troy Benjamin says
What?
it was Tony Dorsett for him when he was
Okay.
a little, because Tony Dorsett, TD came from, University of Pittsburgh
Yep.
and went to the Dallas Cowboys. TD, what he wore, number 33.
33.
Okay, so that was it for him. Then guess what? Chuck says I think it was because Dallas was one of the few teams on the old electric football game.
Okay.
The one that make noise.
I like that.
Right?
Yes.
And they had the green box. That's why he loved
That's
the
a good one.
Cowboys,
That's a great one.
because it got in your heart at a young age. Because you couldn't have just fell in love with them in the last few years. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my point. There's no way that if you ask a kid that's under 30 years old, why did you fall in love with the Dallas Cowboys? Then it had to be something that was passed down from an elder. Because it's like, just think of it like this. Ain't there some restaurants that until you got a certain age, you liked it because your mom or dad took you to that restaurant when you was a little boy, and that's why you liked it. You didn't know, but that was a thing to do. You liked it. Or there's a vegetable that you liked because it was just something that made it cool about the way your mom or your dad or one of your kinfolk ate that vegetable. You liked it.
So
For me, it was beets. Somehow mom put the salt on them beets, and guess what? It was cool to eat beets. And then okra.
Oh.
I was one of the young teenagers didn't eat okra back in the day.
I'm not gonna eat no okra.
Man, my mama make that okra. Or we go buy some okra. Give me some okra. Then coleslaw. Then I advanced to coleslaw. Nobody my age ate coleslaw.
That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I don't like a gumbo. Because they put okra in it. You know how you be hollering, man, I'm finna go get some gumbo. You notice how I said, man, you notice how I don't say, Jimmy, I'm going with you.
Everybody don't put okra in there.
Well, if they don't put okra in there, I'll eat it.
And same thing. Oh, there you go. Dave didn't say McDonald's. Same reason. Some kids love McDonald's. It's passed down. They don't come out the womb saying, I want me a number 4.
So you saying Dallas Cowboys been passed down?
To a lot of people.
Okay. So it's a legacy thing.
Down.
It's a legacy thing. It's a legacy.
Because think about it. People say, well, man, we love them fries. Okay, well, if you love the fries, then when you go to the drive-thru, you ain't just ordering the fry.
Hey, man, Melvin Dews is a smart man. He said sharecropping was passed down, but I don't want to be in that hot sun.
Shelling peas.
That's a good one. Man, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a unique. Hey, Jim, that's a unique topic, and I just I don't get it.
Ask your friends. That's what you do. Ask your Cowboy friends, what did the Dallas Cowboys do to make them fall in love with it? Because at some point in time, think about it. Remember the Cavalier fans? LeBron James made a lot of them fall back in love with the Cleveland Cavaliers. When he had the decision, a lot of those fans fell out of love with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a lot of fans fell out of love with LeBron James.
Hey, Jim.
Either or.
Jim, I got a grassroots question. I got to get in. I want to get in before we talk to Mr. Drones get on. I've been seeing this lately, and I don't know the phenomena. It might be something new. I might have missed it. But Jimmy, please explain to me why these guys are announcing where they'll be playing in the summer basketball right now.
Give us one, for example. You got an example?
Yeah, this kid just said. I don't know his name. I mean, it just, you know how they got, they don't put their real name. A dude named Chemo. He said, I will be playing with the Houston Defenders this summer, 2020. I've seen a lot of them, Jimmy. But this one I said, is that overdoing it? Is that overdoing it? I mean, Jim, I'm blessed to receive an offer from Boogaloo State. I'm blessed to. Okay, I said okay. I'm all right with that because an offer to go to college is good. But Jimmy, I've seen a few of these over the last few weeks. That's why I'm talking about this one. I will be playing the summer basketball team this year. Y'all help me. Chuck McGowan says clickbait. He said for like and retweets. Come on, y'all. Jimmy, and Jimmy just said he be setting y'all's ass up. Excuse me. He be setting y'all behinds up. And ranking some of y'all high. And y'all, I don't know, y'all. Jimmy, I had to get that off my chest. I put that right in front of my notes. I just don't understand the phenomenon. I just don't understand. Maybe you can help.
Well, I mean, understand a lot of people, they do that because social media is the personal confidant for a lot of people, and especially the young people.
Okay.
That's their personal, personal shrink. So the way that they talk is almost like they're talking to the shrink, but they're typing it out loud for the world to see.
Okay.
So this is one of the things that, like in that situation, when you see young people, when you see young people making it be known they're playing with certain grassroots teams. Now my thing is, okay, so what should we expect? See, that's the question. If you want to ask, that's a valid question to ask in return. So what should we expect since while you're playing with this team? See, accountability. If you start making them accountable, that way now, that question will be sitting there. It ain't gonna die unless that kid delete that whole tree. That way now, when summertime comes, grassroots season comes, you in the middle of your damn high school season. So why not tweet out? We about to go to state. You didn't gave up on your high school season already. You telling us what summer team you're gonna be playing.
Jimmy, I guess we're in a society where everything begins in I. We're in a society where everything begins I. And that's I. Notice what he said. I will be. I. But hey, like you said, if that's their therapy, I wish I would have invented Twitter and Instagram, because if that's the therapy, because guess what? Nobody that looked like neither one of us invented neither one of those apps, or the app that we're broadcasting on right now, Facebook. So it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, and so Doug Jones says also the summer coaches ask the kids to tweet them out for their personal comfort, like they're staking claim to the
Okay. All right. Okay.
And that you have it. I guess
Okay. Leave me alone, leave me alone. Don't mess with me. I'm with this team.
I mean,
is that what they saying, Doug?
That's what it appears. That's what it appears. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of the young people, that fascinates them to do things. And a lot of, as Doug just said, a lot of the summer coaches they partake and fuel those type of instances.
Why since social media been around for a while, right? Why did this just start this year? I didn't see a lot of that last year. Well, I would have brought it up last year. I'm just saying.
It's been going on. Well, think about it like this: you weren't paying attention to.
Oh, yes, I was.
To certain kids last year, because a kid that's in the 10th grade now may have been in the 9th grade a year ago. Kid in 11th, and then so therefore you only paid attention maybe to certain stature of kids. Now you paying attention to more.
Jimmy, first of all, I don't follow this kid, so it had to come on somebody else's feed for me to get it, a grown person's feed, because I don't follow the kid. So I'm just saying I didn't see a lot of this last year. That's all I'm saying. But I see a lot of it this year. I just Doug, and maybe Doug and Cinco. Doug look at a lot. I didn't see a lot of it last year. That's why I'm asking why this year is so important. The therapy is needed a little bit more this year than it was last year or the year before. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that's once again,
yeah.
let them kids be great.
Okay, I let them be great.
I don't. Either you pay attention to it or you don't pay attention. I don't. Then after a certain period of time, when it gets over, this is what they do. That's what they do. Wow. And guess what? If we had social media back in the days, who's to say that a lot of us wouldn't be doing the same thing? That's what they do until it becomes, most things will fall out of style. And not saying Twitter's gonna fall out of style, but a lot of things that people do, it's gonna fall out of style. And we're expected to be joined shortly by Kyron Drones, the MVP of the state championship Shadow Creek Sharks. He's the quarterback in 11th grade. But meanwhile, I want to remind you guys, tonight the Houston Rockets will be in action at the Sacramento Kings. Rockets right now are 19-9 on the season, tied with the Dallas Mavericks for the 4th seed in the Western Conference. Sacramento, they're right in the hunt, in the playoff hunt. They're right there. What if the playoffs ended today? Sacramento would have the 8th seed. Is it a clear?
They've been winning. I ain't been keeping up with them. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I'm sorry, they're the 9th seed. Right now, they're half a game behind Portland if the season ended today. So Sacramento is right there, and when the season began, I predicted they would be fighting for that 8th seed, and I predicted that Dallas would be fighting for one as well. But I didn't know Dallas would be this good, which they are. Dallas, of course, the Mavericks are tied with the Rockets 19-9. Speaking of the NBA, of course, you see Trae Young had to hit 47, but another loss for the Atlanta Hawks. So at some point, you can either take the money, take the points and run, or you can get tired of the losses and trade and say, well, look, we'll trade some of those points for some W's.
Jimmy, is it that easy? I'm sure the kid will trade. I'm sure the kid will trade all of them for them W's.
Well, I'm saying, well,
awesome.
Not this season. He don't have a choice. But right now we have a choice, and our choice is to switch gears and get right into it, and we're joined right now. Okay. By the champ. The champ is here.
Boy.
Hey, you remember that scene? Remember that scene from Harlem Nights when the champ walked in, and the champ had a speech impairment, and the champ got to talking.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna what we got right now? We got Kyron Drones and Kevin Drones, guys. Shadow Creek High School. Congratulations on the championship. You took care of business.
There you go, Dad. No, I was telling the dad to make sure. I want to see Karen. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Dad, you got the whole thing took over, man. Get my man in there. Get my man in there. Come over a little closer, Karen. Come over a little closer to your dad. We ain't gonna say nothing about it. Yeah, are we good now?
I got a question.
What you got?
What position the daddy play to get him a milk?
Oh, tell him.
Had to get out that quarterback.
and of course, now, Kyron, man, congratulations. Tell us right now, reflecting back on it 72 hours later, how does it feel to be a state champion?
It just feels great. Like, we brought the gold back to the community. Our team wanted this. The school wanted this. We fell short last year, and we knew we had to get the job done this year. And we didn't settle for nothing less other than that.
And I mean, in this game, of course, man, you came into it. It was indeed a shootout. What was the game plan different? What did you guys do differently in this game that you didn't get to accomplish last year against this opponent?
We knew we just had to keep working hard, keep fighting. Cause last year, like I know nobody really expected us to go to state since it was our first year in varsity.
Mhm.
And then this year we knew what it took to get back there, knew what it took to actually win. And then that team, that was like their first time, and like they got beat in the semifinals like 3 years in a row before. So we knew that we had that advantage and we had the experience from last year, and we knew we had to get the job done this year.
Wow.
And of course, that Denton Ryan team, you know, like some games, I mean, you know, you got a good little smack talk here now. Did you feel the Houston versus Dallas atmosphere in that game? Were they talking smack during, you know, I mean, tell us a little about some of the things that was happening during the course of the game.
I know we was talking smack. They wasn't really talking though.
Oh, they wasn't?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. So I got a question for you. Clarence Harris said, "Do that dance." What dance he talking about?
I don't know what did.
Probably the mop.
Oh yeah, probably that.
Oh, you got a dance? I mean, what? You got a dance?
No, it's a trending dance like everybody else.
Oh, okay. I thought it was your dance. Oh, okay. Okay, I thought it was your dance. Jimmy, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, so now last year you didn't play quarterback a year ago and you lost. What position did you play last year with the Shadow Creek team?
No, I was the backup quarterback. Like,
so you was a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you also, a lot of people didn't know you play grassroots basketball during the non-scholastic season. This past season you played with the Houston Hoops 16U program. So now you're going into your final summer. You played a little 7-on-7 as well last year. You parlayed, juggled both, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
How hard was that last summer, juggling both grassroots basketball and 7-on-7 football?
It's hard because you got to decide what practices you're going to go to, what tournaments you're going to go to, knowing your coaches want you to be there. So it's just hard.
And so now, does it come in mind, I'm quite sure some of the football coaches are trying to convince you to not play basketball this summer. And some basketball coaches are trying to convince you to come on and hedge your skill, your talents in both sports. Have you made a decision on how you're going to approach the grassroots season?
I'm going to still play. I'm going to try to do what I did last year, do a little bit of both, but I'm going to still play basketball.
You're going to play both. And so, and as well as 7-on-7. So do you think right now that it's going to hinder you on the national scale? Because I think now what a lot of the young people and a lot of the players in football strive for is to become an Under Armour All-American or an Army All-American and play in one of their games and get their rankings up into 5-star status. And so do you think that, what's the plan in order to get you to that plateau?
I mean, just go to the camps that's going to lead me to that way. Ball out in those camps, show the coaches and the people that rank you what I can do. And I think I showed them that this season, and then in the summer just keep doing that. And then hopefully I get invited to all that.
So what's the camp? What are the camps that people strive for in football during the summer? What are some of them? Name them.
The Elite 11 camp, the Under Armour camp, the Rivals camp, and the next level top 100 camp.
What months are those?
I think February. They start around March, February and March, and then I think the opening is in April. Elite 11 was around April, May. Maybe. I think it was the end of April, early May.
Oh, so anywhere from February to May, those camps transpire. And so at that point, pretty much a player, that's how you get your stars or get your rankings up and going from there. So in your area, is there a Shadow Creek 7-on-7 team, or is it players that's basically they mimic grassroots teams nowadays? They mix them all up, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a Shadow Creek 7-on-7 team because we also do school 7-on-7. Mm-hmm. So that's when we all get together and do that.
Hey, Kyle.
And so who are some of the players on your team that from this past summer? Are you playing with the same 7 or different 7-on-7 team or the same one?
The same one. I'm
Tell
playing.
us name the other players and where they from, so we know how good that team is.
It's mainly just the receivers that I played with this past year. Really, it's
It's
It's all
nobody.
He played with the Shadow Creek team. He didn't play with a special talent. So
Oh, so is that do those compete in different divisions or in the same divisions? So your Shadow Creek team, when you go play
a select
7-on-7, do you play in a separate division as high schools, or you play against the select teams that are combined?
We just play high schools,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
different high schools.
I got a unique statement. There was I just want to I want to look at you because I've seen you, Karen, play football, and I've seen you play basketball. Okay, I watch you at Shadow Creek, and I watch you in the summer. And I'm gonna tell you something that stood out. When you were playing basketball, and I want you to listen to this very carefully. Because a lot of this stuff that I do is for a living. When I walked in the gym and saw you play basketball, you were just a good basketball player. Okay? I didn't come back on the show, didn't brag about you being a basketball player. But after I went and saw you play football, I came back on this show and talked to the whole nation and told them how great of a quarterback you were. And I know you probably think you're equally gifted in both of them. But to a trained eye that has represented professional basketball and football players before, when I walked in that gym and watched you play basketball, you were just another basketball player amongst others. You wasn't 6'9". You wasn't 7 foot. You wasn't a point guard that can jump out the gym. You just didn't stand out. You could shoot, but you just didn't stand out. But once I saw you step up and got up under that center, and I drove way out to Alvin to watch you play. And I came back on this show that Monday, and Jimmy, you can attest to it. I said I saw the next Vince Young at Shadow Creek, and this was one of your first games. So, take that information and use that information, because all I did is it's what I do. And I just want you to make sure that your special talent in both sports. But like I never forget, Antonio Gates, a friend of mine, represented him. He was a good basketball player at Kent State. He said, "Man, look at here, man. You just an all right basketball player." And he played and started for Kent State. He said, "Boy, but if you want to make $100 million, you better put your hand in this dirt and be a tight end." And if you go look him up, Antonio Gates, Hall of Famer, the rest is history. So that's something for you to think about, something for your family to think about. I just wanted to share that with you because I do this every day. Look out for talented basketball and football players who got a chance to play pro. And son, you different. You got magic on that football field. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, and so now in this game, ironically, 2 back-to-back years, the state championship game produced one of the top plays of the day on, a play that went viral. Last year was the Hail Mary with North Shore. You guys with the special teams and the little 10th grade, I think his name Randy Masters, on his return of a botched punt and took it to the house. And so tell us a little bit about that play. That play, was that the momentum changer for this game against Denton Ryan?
Yeah, that was a momentum changer because we didn't expect, I don't think nobody expected that because we all thought the ball was dead and he just picked it up and ran with it. That was one of the momentum changers. And then other momentum changers was my run in the second half towards the end. When I got it all the way to the 8-yard line, both of them was momentum changes.
And so now next year you guys go up to 6A, right, Coach Drones? And so you're expected to be, what district do you expect to be placed in next season?
Right now, the one we hear the most is going in there with the 2 Pearland schools and the 3 A-Leaf schools. And being a part of that district. So wherever they put us, but I've been around this thing a while. UIL. I remember one year we were at Westfield and we got put in there with Westbrook and Port Arthur. So drove right past North Shore and all those places and was in that district. So we'll see what happens in February where they place us.
Yeah, and so now speaking of the move up, you guys have been in the Class 5A. These are just tuned to the Chop Shop. This is Kevin and Kyron Drones of Shadow Creek High School. This is the first team to win a state championship in 2 years, right?
I believe so.
Understand, in the history of Texas football, the first team to win a state championship in football in 2 years. They went to the state championship game in back-to-back seasons. So when this school was built, you're part of the Alvin ISD, right?
Correct.
But you sit in the middle of is Pearland is not Alvin ISD, is it?
No, it's Pearland ISD.
Yeah, you sit in the middle of Pearland and Fort Bend, or the adjacent territories. What schools did your school bite into the attendance zone of? Did they redo the attendance for those school districts?
Yeah, the majority of these kids came from Manville.
Came from Manville.
This was the first class, the senior class was the first class that went all the way through Shadow Creek. So last year's seniors were part of that. They could have a choice if they stayed in Manville or they went. This was the first class that went by the zones.
And Melvin Dews asked, do you think you guys will be 6A Division I or 6A Division II in football next season?
I think we'll be Division II.
Yeah, I would think so.
Schools that are around us, we're the smallest school. We'll be the smallest school.
So that means no North Shore in the playoffs for you guys.
No.
or Katy, for that matter, in the playoffs for you guys.
That Division I gauntlet.
So is any schedule right now? Is the schedule made? Who you guys open up with next season? Because normally in football,
Yeah, we're still trying to work on that.
So
don't have anything right now.
So does teams? Do you find it hard to get games now, being the fact that you guys are back-to-back state championship game appearances and champions as it stands right now? Is it harder? Or teams trying to pull out of games?
Well, we don't have any set. Coach Butler's still working on that, and we'll see. We're a little busy up until now. But I know he was still trying to work on it, and I think he's talked to a couple of people on preliminary deals, but we don't. I know as of a couple of weeks ago, we didn't have any non-district games.
A guy asked me something this weekend, and because you have a lot of the and there's a couple of Houston and Dallas rivalries which was attempted to spark. The latest one being the Dallas Carter versus Houston Yates in football, but I think the timing was about 5 to 10 years, a little bit too late for us missing the curve on the talent of the peak of the talent, especially of a Jack Yates. Well, on the football field, wouldn't it be great to have a triple header with Shadow Creek, North Shore, and let's say Katy? All right, we'll go and they would take 3 schools from DFW, say a Duncanville, Allen, and one of the Denton teams or something like that. 3. Would that be something that do you think that's doable for anybody to put together?
I know it's been done before. They've had these classics. I remember they used to do the Psalm Landry Classic a while back when my dad was at Lamar. They got called a couple of times. But it seems like Dallas always wants us to go to Dallas, though. So I don't know. We always have to take that trip there. They don't ever want to come to Houston.
And why is that?
I don't know. I really don't know why that is, but it seems like everything kind of filters through Dallas for some reason. I have no idea.
Kyron,
we kind of flip.
Yeah, I got a question for Kyron now. If the state championship, which is the last 2 years, of course, has been seemed like it was a fixture in an AT&T Stadium in Dallas. If you could make the decision, how would they determine this? How would the UIL determine where the state championships should be played each year?
It'll either be in NRG or AT&T. I can see it being played in NRG, so like, or it can switch out each year, going back and forth.
And the last time, now you do know the last time it was at NRG, that the attendance was one of the lowest that it had been in a mighty long time. And so the numbers were low for people coming out. It just was I think personally, it just was one of those years that it didn't have a highly anticipated showdown going into play. And as a result, I mean, don't get it twisted. When they took it back to Dallas, you had Allen, you know, was the made it there, and they were the featured team, and they rolled deep. This Allen High School has approximately 7,000 students as it stands right now, guys. Especially for those of you who are not in the state of Texas, that team rolled deep. When they got knocked out of the playoffs, everybody took a hit at the gate, because that means that was anticipated and revenues from spectators. Now, I want to ask you another question about your game. Haller mentioned earlier and compared you, basically made the statement that he sees 6'4" players that look like you all the time, but not many 6'4" quarterbacks that play like you. How would you describe your game on the field for people that have never seen you play? Who do you compare yourself to? What NFL player? And how do you describe Kyron Drones on the field?
An NFL player, I would say I play like the old Cam Newton, not like the new one, because he's not really like that no more. But the old Cam Newton, most definitely.
You say the old Cam Newton, so that means you mean the one that wore the loose pants, not them tight pants, the tight britches.
No, the MVP Cam Newton. That's what we talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the dressing, how he dressed.
Well, I know what you was talking about.
So speaking of Cam Newton, what's your academic status right now? Have you taken the SAT or the ACT test?
No, I'll take that in
March.
Yeah.
You'll take it in March. That'll be your first time.
Mm-hmm.
In March. And what's your core GPA? I know you're right at the midway point because you're in 11th grade. But do you know what your core GPA right now?
I have a 3.5 right now.
3.5? And
Yes, sir.
that's great. What do you say now for Haller?
Yeah, because I already know he was academically. His mom and dad don't play, man.
Well, I mean, what if he wasn't?
Huh?
Well,
No,
I mean,
I'm just telling you. I just knew he was. Hey, that was a good question from you, but I wouldn't ask that question because I already know what's happening.
But that's what I'm saying. But though the people that's watching don't know, and
Okay.
we're dealing with a situation that across town with North Shore High School, their star running back has yet to qualify.
Did I notice I said his mom and daddy don't play? Maybe the other people's mom and daddy like you didn't mind. I'm trying to be nice. But you remember, hey, dude, you couldn't play in my house with them bad grades, man. It just don't even seem right. You know, and Mr. Drones and Mrs. Drones, they like the same way. Yeah. If you're gonna be the man, if you're gonna be the man on the field, you better be the man in the classroom too. Now, yeah.
And of course, you guys just tuning in. If you have any questions that you want us to present to Kyron or Kevin Drones, feel free to present it in the Boom Boom Room. We can relay those questions to them. So now, your system over at Shadow Creek mentioned it's your second year of varsity.
Yeah.
You have another year left. How many people are returning next year?
Good question.
Yeah, I'm on offense. 5 on offense, about 4 on defense starters. But we had a lot of guys that were backups. A couple of them made all district teams on our defense. So we're not done.
Really? Even though you're moving up to 6A, we should expect Shadow Creek to do big things, right?
Yeah, we're not done.
I like that. I like that. So now, when
I
do
want to
you
know.
plan?
I want to know about that offensive line. How is our offensive line going? That's what I'm worried about. Because they got to protect you, baby. How we looking? How we looking,
It's,
Kevin?
it's three of them back, and
Okay.
probably I would say this JV group because they run scout team for us on defense.
Okay.
One of the better JV groups I've been around,
Okay.
and I've been in some places.
Okay.
But they did a heck of a job in scout team for us all year.
Hey, Jimmy, I got something I don't know. You might know already. But guess who was instrumental and had something had a similar I think coached him Mike Evans. Guess who? Kevin Jones had coached Mike Evans before, Jimmy, another two-sport star, and now he birthed a son that's a two-sport star. How ironic is that, Jimmy?
Yeah. Well, now tell us about, where did you coach Mike Evans at?
I was the defense coordinator in Galveston.
At Galveston Ball? And,
Yeah.
and we were talking just last week about Mike Evans, and because a lot of people, we were just talking about how guys that decided to play play football, and at that size, and he was about, at that time, Mike Evans was about 6'4", 6'5", played mostly grassroots basketball alongside Terran Petaway.
Yes.
And Petaway, who went on to Texas Tech, then Nebraska. Mike Evans did not play football all the way through Galveston Ball.
Played the senior year.
He didn't start playing until when?
The senior year.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Right.
I thought it was 11th grade. I thought it was 11th grade year. So it was
He came out in the spring. I wish he would have played, but he came out in the spring. He showed up, and I was telling Hatter earlier, he ran a 40, couldn't even get in the stands, and ran a 4.5 twice. And I told him on the track, I said, Mike, you're a dime a dozen on the basketball court. When you get off the bus, you're a mismatch on the football field. And I told him, I said, if you trust us, you're going to be in the Big 12 or the SEC. So later on, when A&M went from the Big 12 to the SEC, I said, I ain't know you're going to be in both of them.
and I mean, that's a fascinating story. And around that time, your son was probably the third grade or so.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago. So that was 10 years ago. Karen was 6.
Yeah. He was around there trying to play flag football then.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you another person, Jimmy, you probably know. Remember the left-handed boy we had in Galveston Ball, Dietrich Johnson?
Yeah.
Well, Mike practiced for the first 2 days. Dietrich started off in the stands, came down to the gate, and I told him, I said, if you come in this gate, I'm taking you in and putting your equipment. Well, Dietrich came in that gate, and he ended up starting both ways for us. Ended up playing football at Prairie View. Went and got it, graduated early, started there 3 years, graduated early, had another year of eligibility, and went down to Bethune-Cookman, won the MEAC as a cornerback, and now working on his doctorate at UT.
Wow.
His doctorate.
He was a straight football. He played one year too. They were the only 2 that signed that year.
Wow.
So now, in doing stuff, in dealing with two-sport situations, or guys that don't play but one sport until a certain year of high school, how does that affect the relationship with the basketball coach, you being a football coach, and sometimes being considered as poaching the kids?
I've been fortunate because I've coached basketball too. So I can kind of serve as a buffer, if you would. I had to do it at Westfield. I remember we tried to get Albert Turley to come play football, and he didn't. And he told me his last game, Coach, I should have played football. I was like, yeah, you should have.
Wow.
Ended up going to Albany to play basketball. I don't know what he did at Albany, but he was a tackle. When he came to us from Pearland as a sophomore, he had a Texas Tech offer and an A&M offer in football. And he didn't have anything in basketball. And he came there and he went straight basketball.
Right, sure did.
He was at Pearland.
And stopped playing football.
He did.
And Pearland had went to state
Yeah.
during the time. Albert Turley.
Albert Turley.
And so with that, do you think that Kyron is listening and watching the situation with these guys?
I got a lot of these stories. I can tell you that one, and you remember him from those Westfield basketball teams we had. Justin Crow. We tried to get him to come play safety, and Justin came to Shadow Creek to recruit, and he's telling me every time he see me, I should have played football, coach. I should have played football.
Well, it's worked out for him okay because he's a college coach.
It worked out, but he's still saying he should have played football.
He probably could have made money. I mean, but it was fun back then. He played with the No Limit team. Westfield High School was ranked #1 in the country back in that year. Got upset by Kingwood and Nick Wise in the regionals. So, but it was a good ride. Now,
We played him that year.
that was the 4th time you played him that year. You're right. He was up 22-4 before Mike Singletary and Nick Wise opened up a can of whoopers.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I mean, so we got more questions for you. And one of the questions on the Boom Boom Room is the recruitment. How is your recruitment, Kyron, right now? As far as and what's your timetable of narrowing down and selecting schools?
I mean, I just got an offer Thursday from William and Mary. I got an offer this morning from Illinois State. But a lot of coaches are talking to me like Kansas, TCU, LSU, Texas Tech, Duke, A&M, Florida, schools like that. But they just texting me. They haven't really pulled the trigger yet. So I'm really just waiting on that.
So now, as the father, Kevin, right now, you've been around, you've seen NFL players. What level is your son right now? Give us the scout on him right now.
I think he is one of the best I know he's one of the best in the city, and he just proved he's one of the best in the state. I mean, his things, I know he didn't play last year, and I know that has a lot to do with it. A lot of these quarterbacks in his class that have been offered, they played as freshmen or sophomores. And when I chose to take the job at Shadow Creek, I could have taken him somewhere where he could have played. But my thing was I wanted him to have to compete because if you really want to play college football, they're going to always be guys, and you got to learn how to compete. You can't just go there and have something given to you. And I think it worked out. I mean, he threw for over 3,400 yards and 46 touchdowns and ran for another 820 and 18 touchdowns. And the biggest thing, 16-0 as a starter. So he showed a little bit of everything this year, and some of the stuff he did that I sat in the press box and kind of was in awe of. It was a testament because that group that we had, great group of seniors that basically took him in from day one as a transfer from Pearland, and both of us really. And they took us in like we had been there from day one.
Wow.
And as probably the most mature group that I've been around in a long time. Probably it reminded me a lot of the Westfield days, but this group was by far the most mature, never strayed, never flinched, and had the confidence that they were going to do this from 365 days ago when we traveled back from losing that state championship game.
Yeah, and we got other comments and questions in the Boom Boom Room, and we'll try to get to most of them. You guys coming, and another one he says we just asked him, of course, dudes just asked him about his colleges, and your first offer, Kyron, was what, TSU?
Yeah.
Kind.
What kind of mean?
Because I think Coach May got caught up in the moment. He told me I was on the sideline at the Hightower game. And Kyron had a big game. It was at Shadow Creek. And Coach said, well, tell him he got off from TSU. So I was like, okay. So I told him to post it. And then we went to the camp, to TSU camp. And when I went up to him to thank him for, recruiting Kyron, he said, well, Kyron did really good. We're going to go in there and talk about it. But I think we're going to offer him. I thought he already had an offer. So that was my mistake, and I should have got it in writing. But I hadn't heard from him since. So I had Kyron take it down after that conversation. And but the media kind of took it and ran with it. But we haven't had any contact with TSU.
Wow. And so now as it stands, we just tuned in Illinois State, William and Mary are the only offers on the table for Kyron Drone, the MVP of and the district MVP as well as the state championship MVP, the Shadow Creek Sharks. And so on this right now on the right, you mentioned the Rivals as one of the camps that you're planning hoping to go to. Those are invite onlys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
have you received invites to those camps yet?
got an invite to the next level camp. I haven't got an invite to anywhere else yet.
How many people get invites to those camps?
The next level is 100 people because it's the top 100 in the state, and then Elite 11, the Nike camp. I don't know how many people get invited to that.
It's usually anywhere from 200 to 300 participants in camps.
And which one?
At the Rivals camp, we attended there last year at Westfield, and then the opening. They had different sessions, so I would say it was probably 75 quarterbacks that got invited, somewhere around there.
75 quarterbacks?
They do one in Houston, do one in Dallas, so you kind of go through it. And, they normally take the seniors. So he was there last year, and it was just to so he could see it and know what it was all about this year.
And that's a good thing. And so now we definitely want to let you know, young man, we are rooting for you and for you to understand there's a different type of bullseye on your back right now. And we talk at the top of the show, I explained a lot of people thrive the best when they're playing the role of the hunter. You're the hunted now. Mm-hmm. And so if your goal and your dream of your high school career was to just attain the state championship, then you have to go back into the drawing board and refocus now because you've accomplished that goal. What do you have to do now? So what are you going to do now for the next 12, 14, 15 months? So you have to go and recharge your battery and find something to be hungry about. And I know you look sideways and see other quarterbacks that ain't 6'4", that have offers from higher level schools or better program or more economically stable programs. And so now you have to get on a mission to go and be the hunter for that, because you already accepted your fate. You understand? You made a decision to play grassroots basketball. Obviously, well, not necessarily obviously. I'm going to ask you, because I didn't ask you before. Do you think that playing grassroots basketball is hindering your football exposure on a national scale?
I mean, kinda. Sometimes, like, some coaches want you to play two sports. They like that. And then some coaches want you to focus on just football. So, like, it kind of depends on what coaches you want talking to you. Like, A&M, they told me that they was cool with me playing basketball and football. Like, they said that they would be cool with that in college, too. So, I don't really know now.
And I'm going to help him out a little bit, Jimmy. A lot of it, and Pop explained it earlier, a lot of it is due to Jimmy. He wasn't a starter last year. This is his first full year of starting. 16-0, state champion. He got a resume now. Last year he didn't have that resume, the extensive resume as he has now. So this is his time right now. You remember you said all eggs don't hatch on the same day? It's about that. It's about the right timing. His timing. He couldn't have scripted it no better, Jimmy. 16-0, state championship, MVP. Hold up. And what you told me early in the show, in Texas is football. Ain't that what you told me earlier? Mm-hmm. One of the best and fertile soils for football players. He is one of the best. He's the MVP of his division. So It's believe you me, it's people talking about him. He don't know it. It's people talking about him behind his back in a good way. You know, sometimes we get mad about people talking behind our back, but it's people talking about you right now, Kevin. I promise you, because I know they are, because I've talked to a few of them. They're talking behind your back, and you just, hey, but Jimmy did say something. Stay hungry, stay humble and about this thing, and stay honest. And those 3 H's will get you a long way, because we don't want you next year, you this top guy, and you get up to the state championship and you telling somebody you don't want to relinquish your phone before phone checks. I already know it ain't gonna happen, but we trying to prepare smart young men and have you able to go out in this world and compete in this global economy over the next few years. Whether it's basketball in the business world, football in the business world, whatever you want to do, we trying to prepare you for that, son. So Jimmy, and I understand what you were saying, but Jimmy, his recruiting is about to pick up as we talking right now.
Well, the thing about the backup component is this, and this is what I say. Just a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, there was a young man that lived right around the corner from Shadow Creek High School. And this young man name is Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask was a backup quarterback at Manville High School. Mm-hmm. He was 6'3", 6'4". Mm-hmm. University of Florida, the Gators offered him a scholarship as a backup. So they had to recruit that. My point is, all eggs are different. Yeah. But my thing is, the University of Florida is one school that we know is no stranger to the Manville, Shadow Creek area. That guy, normally when you dip your spoon into a talent pool and it has success, you're going to come back and get another drink. So that's why I asked that, because Shadow Creek doesn't have any history because it's only your second year of varsity, but Manville does. So because a lot of these kids that went to Shadow Creek would have been zoned to Manville had you not built this new school. So my thing is, in the coaching staffs, once again, do you guys at Shadow Creek, is it like, is Manville perceived as your arch rival? Do you guys communicate, get along, or is it just like you stay on that side of 288 and we on this side?
No, I got, a lot of our guys on the staff came from Manville, so including the head coach. So I got a lot of friends on that staff. Matter of fact, I talked to one last night for a while, congratulating us on the championships, and how proud he was of us. Not a rival, especially from a football standpoint, because we don't play each other. So, our rival, I say from a football standpoint, well, it had to be Foster, but we're in different divisions. But Manville hadn't been a rival because, like I said, we don't play each other. They're going to probably replace us in the district next year when the realignment happens. They'll take our place because they're going to go at 5A Division I. But no, I have a lot of those friends. I don't have any ill will toward Manville.
And so now, Kyle, I want to ask you another question that somebody posed for you before we get ready to land the plane. What are you going to be working on during the off season towards getting better?
I'm working on mostly understanding people's coverages, and then since most of our receivers were seniors this past year, with the new receivers, just working on timing with them, working on how they run their routes, how they want to catch the ball, and all that.
And now, lastly, your take on social media. Is there a policy in your household, Mr. Drones, on the partaking in social media, and what do you do, or do you have any system in place to kind of monitor your son and people that's maybe preying on him? You have different adults that come from different places in there. How do you guys handle that part of the recruitment?
I've always tried to use examples that I hear about, when people lose their scholarship behind what they like or retweet. And I've shared that with he and my daughter. Watch what you put on social media. Watch what you're liking on social media. Watch what you retweet. Keep it more business than social, because there are people out there that just want to comb through your social media just to find something to try to bring you down, especially when you have a target kind of on your back. So I share that with everybody. I share that with our team. I've spoke on that. I spoke on that last year at Shadow Creek about social media and videos and pictures and sharing and all that stuff that's going on that you hear about. As far as people coming in and messaging him, I kind of go through sometimes and I see who's following him and who's not, and I try to follow those guys back, especially when their coaches are grown-ups or they have some of these services and things like that, because I've been doing this so long that I gotta kind of watch out who's in for the latch long and who's really trying to help.
Have you had to extinguish any type of or kind of block any type of grown man who tried to come in and act as a confidant or insert himself into you guys' equation of recruiting?
No, not yet. I haven't had to have that talk. I've reached out to some people that I respect to help, and because I've done this a long time. I've helped with recruitment in one quarterback, and that was Connor Blumrick from Pearland, and he went to A&M, but I haven't had that. So this is new. It's different from, I got two DNs, one going to K-State, one going to Virginia Tech. That's different when they're offering D linemen or secondary guys. Quarterbacks are different. They got to get the approval. They got to see if the head coach has to come watch you throw. Then they got to make sure they can coexist. And I understand it's the face of the program. So it's a little different thing when you're dealing with quarterbacks. So you just got to be patient. And I think he learned that lesson last year when he had to be the backup.
And lastly, Anthony Weston asked, are you guys considering any HBCUs? I know North Carolina's Central A&T went and won the national championship. Well, the HBCU version of the national championship. That's a HBCU national championship.
Yeah.
They won that again, beat the snot out of Alcorn last week. I think 60-something to 40-something. But are you guys considering any HBCU?
Wherever I can play, but not any HBCU school has any texting me, talk to me, contacting me, or any of that. So if they text me and talk about offering, it's wherever I can play. So it really don't matter.
All right. So Anthony Weston, you heard that. So you can relay that over to Alabama A&M and all the people, because TSU shot their shot, obviously, but they fumbled the ball. Listen.
Hey, I wouldn't mind him going to Howard. Cam Newton's brother gone in Karen Drones.
Ironically, Hatter, that's who the coaches at Howard that coached Cam's brother are William and Mary, and that's who offered Karen.
Okay.
That was the quarterback coach that offered. Mike London's the head coach there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, and so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Any last piece of advice you have out there, Kyron or Kevin Drones, feel free to share it right now. You got any last word?
I would tell parents, because it seems like it's going viral. I would tell parents to let the child be the child and trust your coaches. At the end of the day, no coach is trying to lose. It's not going to be personal if your son's not playing and he's young. Just trust the process and be patient. We've had talks. I've talked to some people because I feel like I can talk to some parents because I've done both. I'm a coach and I'm a parent, and I've gone through it. My son's set as a sophomore, and it doesn't hurt you. It makes you better, teaches you some lessons, and everybody's not, like you said, all eggs don't hatch on the same day. you just got to be patient and don't get mad and make a knee-jerk reaction and pull him from a program and take him somewhere where he can just play. Sometimes he's just got to be able to fight for a position and learn, because they're going to stay recruit in college.
I like that.
And you have Kyron?
No, I don't really got no advice.
There you have it, man. We definitely, once again, congratulations. Shadow Creek High School 28-22, state champions of the 2019 high school football season in the state of Texas. UIL Class 5A state champion, once again, Shadow Creek High School. And congratulations to both of you guys. Well deserved in that. I've watched it on both sides of the fence. Hadn't got to see him play a football game yet, but that is a must do and for me in the 2020 season. So I'm going to look on. That's why I asked about that schedule, so I can pick the right game and get on over there to see you guys this season coming up. Once again, thanks so much for joining us on the Chop Shop. We definitely appreciate it, man. You hanging out with us for this long. And right now, Hatter has put up the starting five. But guess what, guys? It's time to go hit this doggone stove. I wish they had online shopping for one day delivery, because now I got to go face up with this doggone all this traffic.
Well, why you wait so late, man?
Because that's just the fifth ward in.
Guess what? Hey, that's the South Memphis in me too. So you're right.
I'm at the point.
I'll see you out there somewhere.
I'm almost to the point now. I just putting money in the envelope. Or you can't never go wrong at the perfume stand.
And speaking of this, Jimmy, you remember we met up last year at this time? You remember?
Well, I had the biggest bag in the mall.
Yeah, you had the big old bag. Yeah, walking around there. Yeah, that was you know what? I think I'm gonna have the biggest bag in the mall today.
I might go to the mall this time. I'm tired of all that traffic. Anyway, guys, thanks so much, man. Hey,
all right.
It's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. Thanks so much to all you guys that tuned into the Chop Shop. On behalf, of course, we got Kevin and Kyron Drones. On behalf of Robert Hatter, this is your hat, Jim Hicks. See you guys in 22 hours, man. We got a piece up out here. Chop Shop.
All right. Bye.
Appreciate it.
All right.